Hey everybody, and welcome back. So, I know there's been a gap between a lot of things because for me personally, school's been a lot. Spring break is coming up. Spring break for me starts this Tuesday, or this Wednesday, I should say. There's been a lot going on. Um, but as you can see, I did some work behind the scenes. If you remember with Tigger and Rudy's house, I wasn't exactly happy with the outcome of everything. Um, since then, we've replaced Rudy with Tad, and I'm low key thinking about replacing Tad again. Um, and as you can see, I kind of did do a mini tree house for Rowan because Tigger's house is often portrayed as a tree house in Winnie the Pooh pretty much all the time. So I ended up doing that. I ended up moving Tad elsewhere. He's going to have a house somewhere else, probably on the beach. Um, and this space eventually became a basketball court, which I like a lot more. This space over here has a really weird shape, but I made it work. Where we just made a little camping tent and a little fishing spot for Rowan. Um, and I honestly really like how that came up. I also changed up his exterior because I think I had a different exterior in the original video. And I also switched up his interior as well. So this is Rowan's exterior. I mean interior. He's sleeping. So, like I said, the vibe is kind of like he hasn't even like unpacked everything yet. Um, not that he's just moving in. I've seen those types of build where it's like someone's just moving in. I remember creator Casey did that on her most recent island, and Matilda did that on her island Yellow. They were such good ideas where you make the villager look like they're just moving in, and oh, it's such a good idea. This is not exactly that. It's more so that he's just too focused on a lot of other things, and he's so hyperactive that he wants to go out and play with people. That outside of the essentials of like his bed, his clothes, his food, etc., he hasn't unboxed everything. That's why there's nothing on the wall still. Um, but yeah, I think it came out really, really nice. I wanted to redo it because originally I forgot how many box items there were. So like the stacked box and the small cardboard boxes, the medium cardboard boxes. I felt like I could do a lot more with his house than I originally did. I also included a little basketball because I feel like he would prioritize that as well. So yeah, that's about it for Rowan's house. Not much. The layout didn't change, just the items did. Enough, you know, dilly-dallying. We have a lot to work on because we're working on 2 houses and 2 builds. Because most of these builds I didn't feel like warranted their own video. So technically we have 4 builds going on. And that's Pooh's house, Piglet's house, the 6 pine trees, and where the woozle wasn't. Now my original idea with the woozles was to get Astrid, who I feel like is really similar to some of the depictions of woozles. But my idea for the woozles was also to use the gyroids as well as the little woozles. So we have a lot to work on. So let's get right into it. It's voiceover me again, and first I'm placing down the plots, and we have the problem that Piglet and Pooh's house are literal tree houses, so I'm kind of trying to make the houses feel like they're living within the forest. You'll see what I mean with Piglet's house here. I honestly really like how it came out at the end. Sort of making it like almost like the reverse of a tree house in the way that if you've seen the way I do them. When we get to doing the outside, it's going to look a lot more nature-like. And I did, of course, want to utilize the tree glitch, so I didn't have that much room dedicated to just cliffs to put trees around above Piglet's house. And now we move on to Piglet's house. So Piglet is based off of anxiety. As you know, I want to try to base these houses off of the theory that the characters are based off of mental disorders. And Piglet is based off of anxiety. Now, people who have anxiety tend to try to want to distract themselves from things. They end up overthinking a lot of decisions. And I didn't know what else to do with Piglet's house outside of making it messy, but I already did that with Ed's house. Um, and I didn't want to do the whole box thing again, like with um, Rowan. The one thing I did want to do is that in Piglet's house, he often has a picture of Pooh. That's really the only idea I had going into this. So for the most part, I kind of just winged it outside of giving him this little sewing station that maybe he can try to start sewing to distract himself to relieve a little stress. So as you can see by the mess under the table, it doesn't exactly work sometimes. That's really it. That all I have. The house itself is really cute, but not much else went into it out in terms of inspiration. Now I started working on Pooh's house a little bit, and for the outside, we're pretty much doing the same thing that we did for Piglet's house, except I'm making the cliff a bit bigger, because this cliff is actually going to become a waterfall for the river on the right side of Pooh's house. I want to make it a waterfall eventually, so that's why he gets to have a bit bigger of a cliff. Um, and of course the storefronts and the tree glitch and same old, same old. Now the interior was a little tricky. In terms of the rumor that the Winnie the Pooh characters are based off of mental disorders, Winnie the Pooh is based off of ADHD. I struggled a little bit because ADHD really just comes from the fact that he hyperfixates about honey. So outside of that, I didn't know what else to do. I do recall a lot of people saying that he also has an eating disorder, but I didn't want to, touch that subject myself. So honestly, I wanted to just really have fun with his house. And I kind of went a little overboard, but I really like how it came out in the end. I really liked his default house. Nate's default house is so adorable. I like really wanted to keep it, honestly. I wanted to originally use or keep the tiny library and stack of books he had, but I ultimately not didn't end up using it, sadly. But I really, really like how it all came out in the end. I decided to just let loose, give him his honey pots, of course, because that's Winnie the Pooh. You can't have Winnie the Pooh without his honey pots. And I really had fun with this. It was probably one of my favorite houses I've done in a really long time. Now, with all of that done, I first decided to place down the 6 pine trees in a circle pattern before making a path between Piglet and Pooh's house, and then working on Pooh's house first. I wanted to use the tree stumps as chairs. I think that's something that I should be doing more on this island, but I don't know why. Only now I'm thinking about it. Um, and sort of like Tigger, I'm sort of kind of winging it a little bit. I want it to, of course, be very cute. It's just that we have a lot of space to work with, that it's kind of a lot to try to fill up all at once. Okay, now we get to the really fun part of the build, and the part that I was most excited for. So for the woozle area, I decided to kind of have this area feel very forested, for lack of a better word, like a lot of trees, really. So first I planted the trees I wanted to stunt, and planted some already fully grown trees, planted some apple trees I wanted to plant in, and I wanted this area in the center to be blocked from the outside. So you have to go all the way around to sort of find this hidden area, which I eventually will do the path that goes to this hidden area. But in this hidden area, in the center of it, has all the woozles. And I kind of did this squeakoid because of the colors. As sort of like a leader, I guess. He's on a little log stool. His colors to me matched a lot of the woozle depictions. And then I did a bunch of pink gyroids because I wanted to reference the heffalumps, how the original heffalump designs were pink. And in the end, I really like how this forested area came out. Filling in the gaps took a lot of time, but I'm ultimately very, very happy with how it all came out in the end. And with that, really, it's just me filling in a bunch of the areas now. So I will see you all at the end. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. This entire build took a lot of time. It took a lot of planning, and I originally started it over spring break, and now my spring break is over. So really not a great use of my time. This was a couple days. This took a couple days to film. I filmed really just when I felt like it and had time to. But I really love how it all came out in the end. I did leave some of it unbuilt, mainly the part below the woozles, but that's because that will be for a future me to figure out. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye.